So today's session is focused on the applications of generative AI in retail. We will be looking at a basic introduction of generative AI, and then we will take a deep dive into how generative AI can be utilized, implemented onto different use cases in retail. Before we jump in, a little bit about myself. I have around 18 years experience in the IT industry into various areas, project delivery, training and development. Last few years, I have been into the AI/ML space. I have been associated with organizations like VMware, Accenture, Persistent, and for the past few months, I have been setting up the AI/ML COE for a very promising startup called Zasm Labs. Um, Apart from work, I regularly participate into AIML workshops and activities throughout different institutions in India. I'm an honorary member at the advisory board of the RPA ecosystem at JCRC University. I am a proud council member of Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and I'm a certified design thinking coach and advocate. Okay, so this is the agenda for today's discussion. We will be looking at what generative AI is and how is it different from what AI has been in the past few years. We will then switch gears to understand the retail landscape. We will then move into looking into the standout use cases in the retail domain, and we will spend most of our time into this area. We will also look at the opportunities and challenges while doing implementing Gen AI into the retail space. We will dive into a very important topic, which is ethical considerations while implementing Gen AI. And then we'll summarize our key takeaways and then we'll open up for questions. Okay, so before I jump into the definition of Gen AI, and I just wanted to give you a quick view of what Gen AI means for different people today. So while I was preparing for this meeting, I just had this quick chat with my seventh grader, and she saw me working on this presentation, and she's like, "What are you working on?" And I said, "This is a presentation on Gen AI." And out of curiosity, I asked her, "Do you have any idea about it?" So she said, "Is it Chat GPT?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Yes, I have been using it to gain inspiration for different essays at her school. And then I also had this discussion with my gym instructor, for example, and she said that, yeah, I have used ChatGPT to create marketing material for our gym. So that is the extent how Gen AI has permeated into the society. Like it isn't a technical topic anymore, thanks to ChatGPT, which was released by OpenAI in November 22. So if you ask a layman like my daughter or my gym instructor, like if we ask them what is Gen AI, first and foremost they relate it with ChatGPT because that was the first Gen AI application that was openly accessible to a common man. And they would say something like this, that Gen AI is like having a magical digital genie in a bottle. It conjures up intelligent, detailed, creative, sometimes unexpected, and sometimes downright bizarre creations. You can ask for as many wishes, not just three, and it will surprise you with uncanny ability to invent new things that you never knew you needed. From funky fashion designs to complex presentations, and from serious code to silly images, you got it all. Yes, Gen AI is capable of creating almost everything that you can imagine today, uh, even code. So I have seen a lot of implementations where Gen AI is going ahead and creating code for our programmers, and we'll talk about it a little bit. This silly image that I have on my presentation also is generated by one of the Gen AI applications. So moving into a little bit more technical explanation of Gen AI. So Gen AI, which is short for Generative Artificial Intelligence, it refers to a subset of artificial intelligence techniques that focus on generating new content or data in response to prompts or questions. So the whole premise of generative AI is towards generation, new content, original content, and that is how sets itself apart from what we now call as traditional AI. So before Gen AI came into picture, everything was AI, and we did not feel the need to say traditional AI or analytical AI. But because now Gen AI is into picture and it has gained so much of popularity, henceforth, when we refer to AI as a traditional practice, we might want to say traditional AI or analytical AI. So coming back to our definition, it refers to a subset of AI which focuses on generating new content in response to prompts. So prompts are questions, or those who have used GenAI in form of Chat GPT or DALI or any other application, you might have seen a small text box where you enter your question or your ask, and then that particular app responds to your questions. So those questions are in a GenAI language called prompts. Now, to start with, again, for a common man, prompts are just those questions, but there's a whole new field called prompt engineering that is taking shape into the Gen AI space or AI space, and there is a lot of intelligence that goes behind crafting different prompts. So those are prompts, and then Gen AI mimics the characteristics of the real world. This is another very important and strong differentiator of Gen AI. We have dealt with NLP applications earlier, chatbots, for example, or some of the machine translation that we see. But with generative AI, what the difference that we see that it is able to very closely relate to the real world data. The language is very different, the grammar is very different. Generative AI builds on existing technologies like large language models, which we call as LLMs, which are trained on large amounts of text. For example, the ChatGPT is trained on the whole of the internet until September 21, and that is how the term large language model came into picture. Unlike traditional AI methods that focus on recognizing patterns or making predictions based on existing data, Gen AI is capable of creating new data samples that are similar to the training data that it has been exposed to. So, again, coming back to our premise of traditional AI methods, right? All of those, the traditional AI models come under the category of discriminative models. And what they have been doing traditionally is they have been predicting, let's say, some value, or they have been recognizing patterns, or they have been clustering, grouping things. That is what we have seen with traditional AI or analytical AI methods. Generative AI is going one step forward and creating new data samples. Analytical AI is used to classify, group, or predict things by leveraging tuned models that are very specific to a business data and use case. For example, let's say you are using a traditional analytical AI model to predict the uh, price of a particular house in a particular locality. So that is a very pointed use case towards the real estate, and you will have a model that will cater to that particular problem. Or let's say you have a market segmentation problem wherein you want to see your customers, they fall into a certain group. For example, in a let's say a credit card company, you want to know who are the defaulters, or you want to know who are the people who are paying on time. Fraud detection, all of those are use cases that have been very specifically developed for that particular domain, that particular use case. Gen AI, on the other hand, you might have noticed that it is a very generic model that is capable of answering a lot of questions without training it onto any specific data. Of course, there will be a lot of pre-training, fine-tuning that will happen going forward in the coming years to make Gen AI cater to specific use cases. But even if in its most basic form, what we call as foundation models, if you just pick up ChatGPT or if you just pick up BART, for example, it will be able to give you at least high-level answers of almost any domain that is for which the information is available on the internet. Gen AI uses machine learning models like GANs, which are generative adversarial networks, and LLMs, which are large language models, to create new content. Now, on this slide, we have come across a lot of terminologies. We have talked about Gen AI and prompts and GANs and LLMs and so on. So let's look at how this looks in the whole AI landscape. So AI is a field of study. It is an umbrella term which encompasses everything from ML, deep learning, computer vision, everything that comes under the artificial intelligence landscape. Machine learning is a subset of AI. So by definition, it is a branch of AI that focuses on creation of intelligent machines that learn from data. So data becomes the core of all of the machine learning models. um, Deep learning is further subset of machine learning. So because data is the core of ML, it is also core of deep learning. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning methods based on ANNs, which are artificial neural networks. And then comes generative AI, which is a further subset of deep learning. Generative AI is a type of ANN that generates data that is similar to data that it was trained on. So I hope this diagram gives a little bit of understanding of all those terms that we have been using. So AI is like the superset, then ML, then deep learning, and then generative AI. A little bit of about GANs and LLMs, and for today's discussion, we are not going to go into the details. But GANs or generative adversarial networks are a type of deep learning model which are mostly used for image generation kind of problems. The architecture is fairly it's actually very interesting architecture wherein you use a generator and a discriminator, and they are basically pit against each other. The job of the generator is to create samples of data which are very close to the real data, and the job of the discriminator is to figure out which is fake data and which is real data. So both of these models iteratively work with each other to the point where the discriminator is no longer able to discriminate the real and fake examples. So it's a very interesting architecture. And LLMs are our large language models, which are basically transformer based. There are a lot of research papers. One important research paper that was published in, I guess, 2017 is what is attention is what you need. I will be posting the link to that article. It's a very informative article if you are more interested in learning about LLMs and transformers in general. So let's change gears a little bit now, from the technical aspects of LLM to its implementations. So, for today's topic, we are going to look at implementations of Gen AI onto the retail landscape. And before we go there, I want to give you a little bit of perspective of how the retail industry is looking today with Gen AI implementations. So, this is some research that I have found. The World Economic Forum predicts a significant rise in retail AI investments reaching 31 billion US dollars by 2028, which is like just 4 years from today. Global retail leaders like eBay, Walmart, Nordstrom, even your Costco's and IKEA's, they are actively integrating generative AI for diverse applications. While in India, 70% of retail businesses plan to adopt GenAI within the next 12 months, meaning the development and implementation of such applications are already underway. And a very interesting fact about this is almost like 4 months back, around in October, while I was just browsing through one particular e-commerce website in India, it's a very local e-commerce site. I saw a small icon called Fashion GPT. The word GPT had become really very famous at that point, and then out of curiosity, I tried to check what does it mean, and it was pretty accurate. Like you could give a conversational search term, and then the results it was yielding were like mind blowing. So I will talk about that use case a little bit later in our presentation, but this is how the GenAI industry is, growing. The pace is very fast, and both on the technological front and on the implementation front, both the industries are going really, really fast. Further understanding retail landscape while going through a particular study from McKinsey Group, these were their findings where the generative AI opportunity represents a potential impact of 400 to over 600 billion US dollars a year only to the retail and CPG industry. So your consumer packaged goods. So if you look at the number, these are huge, and all of the retail giants are really putting their foot forward to capitalize this opportunity. The point of showing these numbers is that generative is AI is here to stay, and everybody's in the race to leverage it for their growth. Okay, so since we are on the topic of retail and now we understand the scale of the how the retail industry is going towards, let's understand very basic of retail marketing. So by definition, retail is a sale of goods and services from business to the end user. And then retail marketing is the process by which retailers promote awareness and interest of their goods in an effort to generate sales. That is the baseline of any retail industry. They will promote awareness in an effort to generate sales. And traditionally, in the retail industry, there are basically four pillars or four principles by which the retail industry goes, which are to the right side. So, product, price, place, and promotion are the four pillars on which the retail industry has been working traditionally. However, after the digital transformation era, like after AI started coming in, after automation started coming in, this focus has shifted a little bit from product price, place, and promotion to consumer cost, convenience, and communication. This is very, very important to understand because most of the consumers today lay a lot of emphasis on how convenient it is to shop and how much communication are they receiving from your retailer. Even if you step back and think about yourself as a consumer, you will agree to this that most of our buying decisions are based on convenience. Of course, the cost is an important factor, but definitely we do lay a lot of emphasis and weightage on how convenient is it for us to shop. And that is where AI and Gen AI in particular comes into play. Let's look at how. So this was an independent study that was carried out by NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a huge name today, especially after the advent of Gen AI. So here you will see what sections or what use cases is the retail industry trying to implement Gen AI on. So one category is intelligent stores, or you also call them as smart stores. And the top category where the retailers are planning to implement Gen AI store analytics and insights. So basically, who is visiting the store, how often, what are they shopping for, how much are they paying, what are their reviews, what are their comments, all of that. So all the store analytics and insights will be utilized by Gen AI. Adaptive advertising, promotions, and pricing, conversational AI. So chatbots have been part of our conversations for quite some time now, but let's accept the fact that traditionally chatbots haven't been really that chatty with us. After one or two conversations, most of the chatbots do route us to a live agent, or we are not able to really get to the answer that we are looking for. But after the advent of Gen AI, the chatbot game has really, really changed. And that is because of all the language capabilities that it comes with. Stock out and inventory management, huge percentage again, loss prevention and asset protection, autonomous checkout, and we will look at a little video on how autonomous checkout is working. Brand avatar for automated customer service, that is on the intelligent store area. On the digital side, which is e-commerce, mobile, metaverse, the use cases that will be focused on is personalized customer recommendation, hyper personalization, for example, conversational AI and NLP, adaptive advertising promotions, augmented reality experiences. So this is where multimodal GenAI will come into picture, not just relying on the language capabilities, but also the text, video, and so on. Product tagging and cataloging and visual search. And then on the supply chain side, intelligent supply chain and CPG manufacturing, the biggest use case is demand forecasting and prediction. This is to avoid the understocking, overstocking, inventory issues. Product formulation, design and development, pick and place robots, intralogistics simulations and optimization, door to door and last mile delivery, product waste, spoilage and food safety. This is another interesting use case, and product quality inspection. So this shows us that there are a lot of arenas where GenAI can be implemented in the retail industry. Like if we think about it, we are not able to go beyond, a product recommendation or a conversational search. But looking at these percentages, you will have an idea of what all areas of retail industry GenAI will be able to influence. Okay, so before we look into use cases, I want to show you a quick video. It's a 1 minute video.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So, how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go. No lines, no checkout. No, seriously.
Okay, so how cool was that, right? And if you noticed, this is a pretty old video. It's come out at least 5 to 6 years back. And at that point of time, Amazon was using computer vision, artificial intelligence, sensors, and whatnot to make this a possibility. Now, how is GenAI taking this, pushing the boundaries with this? With artificial intelligence, automated checkouts are already possible, but can we take it even forward? So here we talk about hyper personalization, right? Like now we dive into the use cases in retail. The biggest area where GenAI can make an impact is hyper personalization. Now, if we take the Amazon Go example a little further, imagine walking into a retail store where an AI system custom generates a shopping list. So in the Amazon Go example, at least you knew what you're going to shop for, and what the AI was helping you with is, not having to bother about the checkouts. But going forward, an AI system can custom generate a shopping list based on your purchase history, the current store offers, what are the trending items, and all of it in real time. So that is the future we are looking at using Gen AI. The same with the customer promotions, for example. So typically in any retail store, all of the offers and promotions that you see are, you know, basically blanket offers. So, for example, if a store is offering like a 20% discount on something, it is a blanketly offered for anyone who comes and purchases that particular product. But that can be customized now, which is Gen AI with all the insights and analytics that the system has. And it can actually spin out new promotions and pricing on the go. Like when it has the data related to that customer, their purchase history, what are their needs, they can actually spin out those promotions in real time. So, same thing applies to dynamic pricing. For example, generative AI algorithms analyze various factors such as demand, competitor pricing, market conditions to dynamically adjust prices in real time. This enables retailers to optimize their pricing strategies to maximize value and profitability. So, without Gen AI, all the analysts and basically pricing experts have to sit down. Let's say there is a holiday season coming in. Let's say there is a um, Black Friday coming in. They have to sit and see what is the demand, who is going to walk into your store or on your website, what are they going to purchase, and how do they need to come up with a proper pricing. But all of this can be generated real time on the go thanks to Gen. Same goes with customer search. So customer search has evolved definitely over the years. So right now, when you search for a particular item, you will see a lot of product recommendations that that show related items to what you're searching. But now the customer search has gone one step ahead, and it now has become a conversational custom search. And we'll talk about it in some time. And then of course personalized try-ons. These are a big hit with, especially with the website or the e-commerce side of the retail industry. With all the fashion and cosmetic brands, for example, customers are a little bit skeptical to buy certain items because they feel that the way a particular product looks onto the screen versus how it is going to look on me is going to be different, and that is going to not serve my purpose. So personalized try-ons give like a real-time feel of how a particular item, let's say a clothing item or a cosmetic item, is going to look on you, on your body type, let's say, or your preferences, and then customers will feel more confident about going and buying that particular item. Same also goes with, for example, a store like IKEA. So if you feed your room dimensions to the IKEA app. And then if you have an item, let's say a bed that you want to fit into your certain bedroom, you are able to visualize that in real time. How is it looking? Is it going with the theme of your house? Is it fitting correctly to the area that you are trying to? All of that can be done now with virtual try-ons. Now, going forward, Gen AI is not just revolutionizing the e-commerce or the website part of it. Even the brick and mortar or the smart stores, the actual physical stores, can be modernized quite a bit using AI and Gen AI. So one of the implementations is in-store assistants. So I have seen one supermarket in Bangalore itself in India who already have a physical robot who moves around and helps people with their questions. So for example, I'm navigating a used supermarket, let's say, and I want to look for a particular item. I am able to talk like a normal buddy with the robot, and then they guide us through the store. Same thing can be done with video screens, for example, wherein you can look at the map of the store and then you can navigate through the store, trying to figure out what you're looking for. Smart shelves. This is another very interesting idea, which we also had a look at the Amazon Go video, right? So there are shelves which are optimized to control inventory. For example, if there is a item kept on the shelf and that is picked up by a certain user, that particular quantity is automatically deducted from the inventory, and the reverse also is possible. And that helps the store managers to control the inventory in real time, and that helps a lot with uh, overstocking or understocking to control those. Custom search, again, like you can actually beat a brick and mortar or an online store. Custom search is now revolutionized to take a natural language search. For example, let's say Amazon again has implemented their search on their app, wherein let's say I'm searching for items to throw a unicorn theme party for my daughter. Earlier, I would have to go and look for caps and maybe cake and few other things which are fitting into the unicorn theme. But with Gen AI, I can actually go and write in natural language, hey, can you help me shop for a birthday party based on the unicorn theme? And it gives all of those items that are required for a unicorn theme party. And the best part with this is it will also give you some items which you could never think of for a party. For example, let's say you want a unicorn colored return gift, which never crossed your mind. But Genia is able to think of it, give you recommendations, and also give you dynamic pricing and promotion on top of it. So this is what we call as hyper personalization, right? So wherein all of your data is used to give you most convenient. Now, if we tie this back to the C's of retail, right? So communication and convenience, and then hyper personalization to give you the most optimum shopping experience. Along with that, optimizing sales for the retailer. Autonomous checkout we already saw with Amazon Go. Apart from brick and mortar and online stores, the back end processes like merchandising and planning also can hugely benefit from Gen AI. For example, it takes a lot of effort for retailers to create product categories and descriptions which are consistent throughout different channels. So, let's say if a particular product is displayed in a store as well as online, and also let's say on a third party online store, it is very important that the consistency is maintained so that the brand is recognized properly throughout all of those channels, and that takes a lot of effort. Sometimes those product descriptions are vague, they do not do justice to the product that you're selling, and that brings down your brand value. Using GenAI, retailers can automatically generate product descriptions. They can create marketing copies and other content. This can help them save time and resources by automating the content creation process while ensuring consistency and quality. Um, the second avenue where GenAI can be used is product design. Now, this is a very, very important area of any retail market. And product design usually takes a lot of iterations in the design process. And sometimes it so happens that the expectations of the customer do not really reach the product design team. And that leads to gaps between what is served by the retailer and what is needed by the customer. So here the GenAI can really help bridge this gap, and in a very, very short time. For example, based on customer reviews, let's say, or past sales data, and even social media sentiment, these things can be used by the product design team to come up with newer products. um, let's say a particular t-shirt is has a very good design, and but when you go through the reviews, people are saying, hey, this t-shirt is fantastic design, it fits me very well, but the material is not really, it's not really suited for Indian weather conditions, for example. Now, this is a great insight for the product design team. They will know that, hey, my product design is good, it looks good, it fits good, but there is something more that the customer wants, and I can just quickly spin out a variation of this same product, and then I could, cater it to the local market. So this helps bridge those gap, like I said. And then product design, it could help smaller retail brands create quick designs, very similar to those fast retailers that we see. Now, this is the application that I was talking about, and the third area where what we see in implementation of GenAI is customer engagement. Now, hyper personalization and customer engagement is the key to anything that is being sold online. And again, I'm going to tie this back to convenience and communication. So, what you see here is the a little app that was that released fashion GPT many months back in India, and I would really go and search the, hey, can you show me? I'm trying to shop for my Goa vacation. If you see here, I need looks for my Goa vacation. So Goa is a tropical, like a seaside place in India, very popular. And what Fashion GPT was able to do is it could show me everything from outfits to hats to slippers to sunscreens and everything that even I couldn't think of when I would pack for a Goa vacation. And I was really blown with how Genia was implemented here. And I saw a similar, we talked about Gen AI search on Walmart. Sorry, it wasn't Amazon, it was Walmart, wherein you can just give a natural language search term like trying to throw a unicorn birthday party, and it comes out with amazing recommendations for you. Now, chatbots, again, chatbots come under the category of customer engagement. Um, Chatbots have been there for quite some time, but new generation chatbots are way more interactive than what we have seen earlier. For example, chatbots can help customers track orders, change shipping details. They can help them reorder, find your nearest physical location, and so much more. And that takes a lot of load out from the backend team, because where is my package is the biggest question that people are asking today, right? And those interactive chatbots are able to go, not just answer that question, but go beyond that and recommend you, what you can do in the meantime. Do you need this while your package reaches you? And that also helps with a lot of upselling and cross selling. Automatic translation. So on your website or on your retail app, if you want to attract customers from the various geographies, various countries, automatic translation can help you attract that customer, and so you will have more engagement eventually. Virtual try-ons, we have talked about. There was one particular example wherein, there was a particular app wherein it was an athletic apparel retailer, and it could automatically generate an image of a college student wearing a sports jersey on a college campus backdrop for a 19-year-old customer. So that is the kind of personalization today's apps are giving. So let's say I'm a 19-year-old customer, so the app knows it, and I'm looking for a t-shirt. It is creating a whole experience for me by showing myself into that t-shirt on a backdrop of a college and how I'm going to look. Of course, all of this comes with a lot of permissions, tracking, and all of those things, ethical considerations that we will be talking about. But just imagine the kind of immersive experience today's apps are giving. If the customers are willing to provide more personal data or even their own prompts, for example, generative AI could show the customer each product in a variety of different contexts of their choosing. So how will this item look in a college? How will it look in a party? How will it look at a presentation? All of that is possible using generative AI. And the fourth category that can also benefit from GenAI is intelligent supply chain. So product formulation, we have touched upon the product design and development part. Packaging configurations is another important use case. For example, a lot of packages are packaged and shipped throughout the world, and those configurations can be intelligently maintained using GenAI, which will help curb a lot of wastage and even cost optimization. Where is my package? We talked about inventory management. We talked about predictive maintenance is also a very important use case, as in, for example, if you're into fresh produce, um, based on the weather conditions, whether it is going to be more humid or hot in the coming days, or is it going to rain, a Gen AI intelligent system can tell you what to stock on, what to not stock on, and what maintenance activities should be carried out in a particular warehouse. All of that can be done in real time, leading to less loss. Summarization could provide bulk data like weekly sales, inventory reports, all of that while providing a summary. So those who are from the sales side of it, you might be pretty aware of how these weekly reports, influence sales decisions and how important it is. But at the same time, how cumbersome and complex is it to create those reports, churning out all of that data, summarizing it, making visuals out of them, and then presenting them to the relevant stakeholders so that they can take informed decisions. So all of this process takes so much of time that sometimes the decisions might get a little delayed. Using Gen AI, you can, just churn all of this data with very less amount of time compared to what it is required by doing manually, and it gives very very crisp summarizations, which will hugely help for decision making. So um, for sales also, and for inventory tracking also, Gen AI could be very very useful. And then intralogistics simulation and optimization is also a very important area wherein Gen AI can come in handy. So we talked about a lot of use cases. This particular, the summarization by AWS shows all of those areas where Gen AI can help. So we talked about customer engagements, and as a part of it, we talked about chatbots and automatic translations. We talked about merchandising and planning, digital commerce, product recommendations, content creation, smart stores, or basically modernized brick and mortar stores. We did not talk about IT core applications, wherein which is also a very important use case of Gen AI. Retailers can use Gen AI to spin out those applications quickly. Advanced data insights we talked about, and also intelligent supply chain. Okay, so we talked about a lot of opportunities with a lot of use cases, and all that gets us really excited. And everybody is wanting to implement GenAI, be it a small retailer or a huge enterprise. Everybody is on board now. But what are the challenges? And we have seen some of those already cropping up, right? So this is again from a study from NVIDIA. What are your concerns about generative AI? This was the questions asked to companies which are planning to implement Gen AI, and the top concern was data privacy. Yes, when ChatGPT was introduced in November 2022, people started using it left and right, and there were many incidents that were reported later wherein personal data was leaked and people were not aware of how data privacy is maintained in those LLMs and those applications. So, data privacy is the top concern of organizations who are trying to implement GenAI. Data security, of course, cost to implement is another huge concern, because LLMs, yes, they need a lot of resources, they need a lot of processing power, they need a lot of data, and it also has a lot of sustainability implications. We'll talk about it in the ethical considerations part. Having an off brand or negative customer experience, now this is a very very big concern. So we talked about all of the good things about Gen AI, right? Like hyper personalization, and you recommend things to customers, and they will be awed by those recommendations. But uh, Gen AI is evolving; it is getting better every day, but it is still, few years away from getting perfect. And if there is a little bit of negligence on how it is being implemented, it can lead to some outputs which can potentially hurt your brand very much. So that is a very big concern. Misuse of the technology. So people are using Gen AI to answer all sorts of questions which are not ethical, which are not supposed to be answered. Sometimes Gen AI applications are, if you tweak the prompt appropriately, it does give out those answers. And all of those providers, Gen AI implementation partners, all of them are striving really hard to curb all of those issues. Lagging behind competition in gaining the benefits of Gen AI. Now, this is really concern that everybody uh, has at the back of their mind, because since Gen AI is progressing so fast, everybody wants to get on, on it, and then some retailers may not be able to implement it as fast as somebody else, and that is one fear that they have, that due to Gen AI they may lose some of their customer base. Job displacement. Now, this has been a concern ever since digital transformation started off. So, be it, I would say, even it was there even when the industrial revolution started. But what we have seen historically, that all of those breakthrough technologies have eventually helped us generate new jobs. The key is upskilling and knowing the technology well. So data privacy and security, IP infringement is also one of the top concerns while implementing Gen AI. So your intellectual property, how do you safeguard it? There are a lot of regulations that are now being crafted to help with IP infringement, data privacy, and security. Algorithm bias is something also that you need to take care of. So sometimes all those algorithms are trained on a particular data, and it may so happen during the training process that the data that is trained to the model has some bias into it, and because of that it gives out um, biased recommendations, and that may not go well with our target customers. So that is one of the concerns. AI hallucinations, again, hallucinations are the bizarre answers that we talked about when we started off. And then implementation challenges, as we have already discussed. Before we move ahead, Setolu, quick time check. Do we have a few more minutes?
Yes, we do have some more minutes.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we are almost towards the end of the presentation, but this discussion will not be complete without looking at the ethical considerations. Privacy concerns arise with location tracking, for example, like many applications today also ask for permission to track your location, and hyper personalization and customer engagement needs a lot of this data. So it is important that the retailers ensure transparency in data usage. They need to have very clear indications on their sites or websites wherever they are collecting this data as to why and how this data will be used. Biases in data pose another challenge, as we talked about. Overrepresented demographics, for example, right? All of this needs to be taken care of. These LLMs sometimes sound authoritative even when they are not accurate. Like sometimes when you're talking to ChatGPT, it gives out answers which will look like 100% correct, but they are not. So it is very important that you always have a human in the loop for use cases which are very critical. For example, in the healthcare domain, let's say you need to validate your output with a human expert. IP rights we have talked about, and the cost and energy consumption, for example, is a very big concern. The amount of water usage, for example, that is happening to process all of this data is one of the concerns that all of the experts are now looking into. So these are some of the ethical considerations. Regulations are being drafted as we talk, and it will be very important for anybody who is trying to implement Gen AI to have those points in their governance model while they jump onto the Gen AI bandwagon. Which brings me to the, a 5 point sort of a guide to start your Gen AI journey. So Gen AI, traditional AI, analytical AI, everything starts with data. So your first and foremost step should be assembling relevant data, also trusted data, uh, to combat the data bias. And if you see, the second most step is define your governance model. Even before you start building your pipeline, even before you start your implementation, it is very important to define your governance model. What will be allowed, what not will not be allowed, what data will be shared. Transparency, data privacy is going to be the key for your Gen AI journey. Once you have that in place, start building a strong pipeline of use cases. Now, this is going to be your make or break point, right? If you pick up a use case which is not going to be a value add, um, it might, lead to unsuccessful GenAI implementation, and you do not want it as your first GenAI implementation. So start building a strong pipeline of use cases, and then you can strategically prioritize your use cases based on various factors like budget and your business decisions. Then you need to decide on enterprise level Gen AI model. And here you may also have to take the build versus buy decision, whether you want to build something in house, or you want to partner with an expert technology partner. That decision you will have to take. And last but not the least, attract and hire best talent. Here you may have to go through the roles that are required to implement a successful Gen AI product into your business. So yes, that's to with that we come to the end of our presentation. Summing it all up, Gen AI is a subset of AI, as we saw, and due to its capability of generating new content, the possibilities are limitless. Gen AI will have a significant impact across all industry sectors. We talked a lot about retail, but you all might know by now that it has a footprint into each and everything that we come across. As retail and CPG executives explore how to integrate GenAI in their operations, they should keep in mind several factors that affect their ability to capture value. And ethical AI, data privacy are very important factors. Gen AI has increased the need to understand whether generated content is based on fact or inference, requiring a new level of quality control. So, quality control is going to be a very, very important factor. And with the right data, a strong governance framework, strategic prioritization of use cases, good partnerships and collaborations, Gen AI can help completely transform the retail industry in the coming years. So, yes, that brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you.